Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is Wednesday, July 30th. We are taping here on Monday, July 28th, here at the Fifth Dimension Studios here at beautiful Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio. It's beautiful. It's going to be great this week here in Ohio. And why not? There's a lot going on in sports. Yes, this is 10 Cent Beer Night, the official sports show of FifthDimensionRadio.com every Wednesday, 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time here on FifthDimensionRadio.com. And Bob had mentioned to me, he's not here. He's healing from his surgery. He is doing well, though, ladies and gentlemen. I am happy to report that. We were supposed to have a special guest today, but the special guest forgot he was going to be out of town. So it happens. All good. You'll just have to deal with me today. But Bob had mentioned we're averaging 200 to 300 listeners for this show specifically, and I'm very thankful for that. You know, it's always hard on a small internet radio project to get listenership out there, but to consistently have those numbers and see them slightly go up every week is a big deal. Well into the 10,000 plus range for overall listeners here on the station, so that is great to have. And like I said, it's a beautiful week here in Northeast Ohio. A lot of sun, a decent amount of heat. We're going to get probably one day of rain, but the rest of it is going to be just sunshine, blue sky. And it's great because this week, Hall of Fame week in Canton, Ohio. We have the Hall of Fame game Thursday. Got fantasy football drafts coming up, too. I know I got one this coming weekend here, a rookie draft in the Dynasty League there. And then on top of that, Major League Baseball trade deadline, and that is what we're going to start off talking about. It's the Guards and the trade deadline, but we got some breaking news. This happened about literally a minute ago before I pushed record and started talking, is a second Guardians pitcher is under investigation for potential sports gambling and has been put on administrative leave till August 31st. Star closer Emmanuel Clase is that pitcher. And this could not have happened at the worst time for the Cleveland Guardians and where they sit right now. And again, I know he's been a little rocky and inconsistent this year. The first year he's really been. The past couple years he's been untouchable during the regular season. And this time he's just he's again, like me and Bob have talked before, he's primarily a fastball pitcher. Batters have been teeing off on him, and now you have this potential sports gambling investigation going on. Actually, I won't say potential. I mean, there is an investigation, but potential crime against the game, because I mean, this is very serious here. If this has happened, and they have starting pitcher Luis Ortiz, who has been on administrative leave for a while. They have some video evidence that he may have definitely been involved, and he's the other guy, like I said, on administrative leave in that potential sports gambling operation there in Cleveland. And this is where sports gambling, as much as I do agree with people's freedom and what they decide to do with their money, this is where it gets in the way of the game. Okay, we talked about in football. You're going to hear about me and Bob talking about it all fall long when in the coming months here. You've heard Tony Romo, former Dallas Cowboys quarterback, talk about the impact it's made on the refereeing and how it's just making the game look. I'm talking about specifically football. Basketball, there's been some question marks, and there's been some people suspended for their entire careers over it. It's happened to a couple players. No big names, a couple G League guys. And there was another investigation into the Miami Heat this past season as far as that stuff goes. But it turns out at least one or two of the players were found innocent, that were not wrapped up in what they thought they saw as far as some of the betting and analytics go. But now in baseball, I mean, especially when you can bet on balls, literally balls and strikes, it's a whole other story, and it's just ruining. I mean, you know it's bad. The video they caught, I was talking about, they have some evidence against Luis Ortiz, the starting pitcher. There was one video that came out. I talked about this a couple weeks ago when Bob was with us. He struck a guy out, and he screamed the F-bomb and was man on the mound. Now, that made no sense. I mean, the guy was a great pitch, to swing and a miss. He got the guy out, and it wasn't like, oh, F, yeah, freak, yeah, he was mad. And that showed that he had the under in his strikeout bet in the game. And so that's, I mean, like I said, when you have incriminating evidence like that, and that's just one example. I'm sure there's a couple others they can find. That's a red flag. And this is, like I said, this could not have happened at the worst. It shouldn't be happening at all, but at the worst time for the Cleveland Guardians here. So, with all that being said, there, look at the Guardians this past week. You have their series against the Baltimore Orioles. They won 3 out of 4. They did pretty well. They won the first 3. They lost they dropped the last one on that Thursday. Logan Allen had a pretty bad first inning, and that pretty much decided the game right there. And then the Orioles scored the go-ahead run later. But other than that, I mean, they won 10-5, 6-3, and 3-2. So they did rely on Clase there. The weekend series against the Royals, Friday's game was postponed due to weather. See, down here we didn't have much rain, but in Cleveland they had a downpour. So that was crazy. And when I mean down here, I mean we're talking 40 minutes away from Cleveland. They actually lost the series against the Royals. Royals took 2 out of 3 Saturday. Game 1, Royals won in 10 innings, 5-3. The second game, Guards won 6-4, and then Sunday Royals won 1-4. So that is where, as far as the standings go. And I just lost it here, but that did affect Cleveland there. Royals crept up. They're now a half game behind Cleveland. Cleveland is now 8 games behind the Tigers there, and so that made all the difference. But Cleveland 52-53. Saw an interesting stat, by the way. Cleveland has been playing .500 baseball since last All-Star break, not this past one. The last one. Since last All-Star break 2024, they're 88-88. Okay? Every month of this season, they've had just as many wins and losses. Okay? Since July 4th, they've had just as many wins and losses. Since last Labor Day, they've had just as many wins and losses. I'm not joking. They've been playing .500 ball for an entire year, pretty much. Last year, if you remember, their first half of the season, they killed it. They they dominated, and that is how they made the playoffs there. Their second half of the year, not bad, but not up to par what they usually did, especially under Tito Francona, who is like the best second half manager in all of baseball currently. Just statistically, he is. Okay? And so Cleveland's just got to find a way to not play .500 ball. They need to find a way to win. They're 52-53 right now because of the losing 2 out of 3 to the Royals there. Some good news, though, this week's schedule. As I'm talking, they're wrapping their last game between the Rockies here, but they play the Rockies in this 3-game series. This is one they should sweep. If they don't, it's an opportunity blown. Rockies are not that good at all. I mean, that's the worst team in the league right now. Going into August, their first weekend series in August. Can't believe I'm talking about that already, but yeah. At home versus the Twins. Got to find a way to win. Because we said that with the Royals this past week. We said how it was going to affect them if they didn't. They won. Again, they lost the series. And now Royals are a half game behind them. Twins are only 2 games, behind Cleveland. Okay? So, if Twins do well their first series of the week, let me see who they play real quick. They play the Red Sox, so it's going to be easier said than done. Red Sox are playing some good ball right now. Twins could sneak right up there by the end of the week if they're not careful. All right? Guards dealing with some injuries there. Chase Lautner, you keep hearing that name, prospect outfielder, first-round pick a couple of years ago. Fans wanted him up. He's out for like about 8 weeks because of a wrist injury. So that's not happening. They're talking about being sellers at trade deadline are doing nothing at all. I have not heard a ton. I'm going to have the latest for you here in a sec here. Quick standing update. I mentioned Tigers are ahead of the AL Central. I gave you an AL Central breakdown there. In the AL East, Blue Jays on top of that division, 63-43. 5.5 games behind them at 57 wins over the New York Yankees. 6.5 games behind the Blue Jays. I should say a full game behind the Yankees is the Red Sox. They have 57 wins, but they also have 50 losses as opposed to New York's 48 losses there. Rays went down. They got swept by the Reds over the weekend. They're now at 500 ball at 53-53. And then you have the Orioles at 47-58 there. But Rays are 10 games behind the Blue Jays. But we've seen the Blue Jays, Yankees, and Red Sox all play some good baseball here. Rays are playing, believe it or not, their worst ball yet. They've been very good this year up until this point. And they've fallen off a bit. In the American League West, the Houston Astros at 60-46 lead the division. 4 games behind them are the Mariners. Also, same record, 4 games behind them are the Rangers. And then you have the Angels at 51-55, 9 games back. Not terrible considering where you've seen the Angels the past 7, 8, 9 decade. I mean, this is one of the better Angels teams we've seen in a while. It's been bad in Anaheim. It's been bad. And 46-62, A's season is slipping away. They're at the bottom of the American League West there. In the National League East, you have the New York Mets at 62 wins, 44 losses. They're on top there. A game and a half behind them are the Phillies at 60-45. By the way, Mets are at a 7-game win streak, so they're playing very well right now. Marlins 50-54, 11 games behind the Mets there. Then you got the Braves 44-60, 17 games behind them, and I'm telling you, their season is dwindling. They're talking about being buyers at trade deadline. There's a lot on the... I mean, it's going to take a lot to turn this ship around. 43-62 are the Nationals. Well, you have the Chicago Cubs as leader in the National League Central at 62-43. Actually, they're tied with the Brewers. The Milwaukee Brewers, they're 62-43. They both have the same record there. Reds 6.5 games back at 56-50. But hey, that the wins keep building up for the Reds. They're playing some good ball right now. Again, I told you they swept the Rays over the weekend, which was a good accomplishment for them this season. Cardinals are 54-53. They're 9 games back, and then you have the Pirates at 44-62, 18.5 games back. You can pretty much write off the Pirates right now. Just not there this year, and we pretty much know that going into the season. National League West, LA Dodgers, much better week than they've had previously, 61-45, lead the National League West there. They do not lead the National League in wins anymore, which I kind of saw coming with how average they had been playing of late. Again, pitching injuries and inconsistent hitting there for LA. San Diego Padres 4 games behind them at 57 wins. Giants 7 games behind the Dodgers at 54 wins. Diamondbacks 51-55, 10 games behind the Dodgers there. And the Rockies going into Cleveland, and again by the time you hear this, they'll be wrapping up the series, but 27-78. Still has not made it to 30 wins this season, and there's just not much going on there in Colorado, and they did trade away one of their better players just recently here. I'm going to get some of the trades that happened on trade deadline there. So Emmanuel Clase, like I said, sports betting investigation, he's been placed on administrative leave for that there. Phillies, very... trying to fight for the top of the National League East. Very interested in Luis Roberts Jr. and trying to get some good bullpen pitchers out of the deal. Seth Lugo signed an extension with the Kansas City Royals. A great trade Kansas City made about a little over a year ago. And I told people in that offseason Kansas City got much better. I got laughed at. Well, last year they made the playoffs. Okay. There's a reason for it. And then this year, they're still competitive in the American League Central. There's still a reason for it, and that's one of the moves right there, is because you got good pitchers like Seth Lugo there. Starling Marte drawing interest for the Mets to trade there. We'll see if that happens. Astros interested in Willie Castro, infielder for the Detroit Tigers, former infielder there for the Akron Rubber Ducks. You have Braves acquired Eric Fedde from the Cardinals via waivers there. Cubs are talking to the Braves about Raisel Iglesias, and they're also talking to the Nationals about Mackenzie Gore, who was an all-star this year. Joe Kelly trying out for the Dodgers. Yes, there might be a second or third reunion. I can't remember how many times he's been in LA at this point, but he's a fan favorite there for Royals fans. I mean, Dodgers fans, excuse me. Dodgers are also talking to Twins about Harrison Bader, the outfielder there. That was somebody I said Cleveland should have jumped on and got there. Yankees did trade for Ahmad Rosario from the Nationals, former Cleveland Indian there. Good contact hitter. So that they got another deep bat to help them get more on base. Royals did trade for Randall Grichuk, outfielder for the Arizona Diamondbacks. He's got some solid power. He doesn't hit for average, but he can put the ball over the fence. That's pretty much what they got him for there. And then there was another trade that happened there. Yankees got third baseman Ryan McMahon from the Rockies. So the Rockies traded one of their top power hitters on the team there. Again, same thing with the trade I just talked about with the Royals. This is a guy, he's not going to hit average, but he'll hit the ball out of the park. He could hit you 20 to 30 home runs a year. A little bit shocked the Yankees got him, given their situation there. But, I mean, it gives them a little bit more power on the lineup to help them produce some more runs there. And so a lot of other names are being brought up there. I think the only thing that throws let me see. I got the Seth Lugo extension, by the way. It's a 2-year extension, and he's got an option for the 2028 year. It's 2 years, $46 million is what Seth Lugo signed with the Royals. But the Colossi thing hurts them more in one way, the Guardians, because they were kind of waving him around trade deadline, see what they could get for him. Forget about it now. Nobody's looking at him. They're afraid he's going to be suspended. Yeah, and I don't expect Cleveland now to not even just receive offers for him, but probably not make much in the way of any kind of move at this point. They're kind of stuck into this weird situation, and it just seems not to be getting better and better there. So we'll talk about that. I got to take a break. We'll talk about that a little bit more, too, when I get back. And then when I get back, Hall of Fame weekend. We got a good Hall of Fame game here in Canton, Ohio, down there. I should say down there, yeah, because it's a little south of us. And we'll talk about the Browns, including an injury already in their quarterback situation. And it happened on a bizarre play in training camp. We'll talk about that and more. Stay tuned. And welcome back to 10 Cent Beer Night here on FifthDimensionRadio.com. I'm Seth. It's just going to be me today if you didn't hear the first segment here. Hall of Fame. It's the pro football this week. This past weekend, Major League Baseball inducted their Hall of Fame class. CC Sabathia, former Cleveland Indian, was put in. He did go in as a New York Yankee. In his defense, he did play more years with the Yankees, and he did win his ring with the Yankees. But he did say Cleveland is where he grew up, and that was closer to his heart than his short stint at Milwaukee. But yeah, everybody's good around here remembers Cy Sabathia is what we call him because he won a Cy Young here in Cleveland. And he was inducted with Ichiro Suzuki, Dick Allen. There's a couple others. I saw parts of the ceremony, not CC's, but Billy Wagner, division. I didn't know this. He was a Division III college pitcher. Eventually turned into a Hall of Famer, and he was very good back. I remember him in his prime too. It makes you feel a little old because now all these players I grew up watching at 12, 13, 14, 15 years old, man, they're going in the Hall of Fame. And it's like, dude, I had your card. I was watching you on TV. Like, what happened? Like, now Ichiro's got gray hair all over the place. Cece's got no hair. And they looked fantastic, though. It was awesome. And great all-around players, deserving of the Hall of Fame honor there. And so I encourage Cleveland next year, retire number 52 for CC Sabathia. He is officially a Hall of Famer. He spent a lot. I mean, he only spent, I think, a year or two more in New York than he did Cleveland. So he spent quite a bit of time here in Cleveland. I mean, we're talking 2000 to 2006. Was it? I'm going by memory here, which does not sound like a long time, but man, it felt like a lifetime. And he was on very few good teams. I mean, he was on the 2001 team that made the playoffs. He made his start in the playoffs against the Mariners, and then he was on the 2005 team the year that he got traded in 08. That's right. He got traded in 08 because he was part of the 2005 team that dominated, that missed the playoffs. He was part of the 2007 team that made the playoffs, fell one game short going to the World Series, and he won Cy Young that year. So yeah, he was in Cleveland until 2008. So it was, I mean, what a ride. And people, I keep bringing up the local minor league team, the Akron Rubber Ducks. He was an Akron Arrow when they were the Arrows, and he was a stud for them too, man. I mean, he's just such a good pitcher, and the other players inducted, well deserving. Unfortunately, we brought up Dick Allen. He's no longer with us, so we didn't get to see his time to shine. But his family was so floored and so honored and loved the fact that he finally made it there. So, for the Hall of Fame, Eric Allen, defensive end there. No, not defensive. Let me see here. Yeah, he was defensive player. Yeah, okay. I kind of zoned out there. He played for the Raiders there. Jared Allen was also a defensive end with the Chiefs and the Vikings. Antonio Gates, tight end for the Los Angeles Chargers, and then you have Sterling Sharpe there, who was a 3-time All-Pro, 5-time Pro Bowler receiver there. He also was an assistant coach too, but yeah, he played for the Green Bay Packers there. One of Brett Favre's top weapons there, but that is your Hall of Fame class for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Just those four there. Solid class. Antonio Gates going to bring a lot of people down here. For those that don't know his story, awesome receiving tight end for the Chargers. Obviously, he made the Hall of Fame, but he didn't play college ball. He played college basketball for Kent State University over near here where I'm sitting, where I went. And he helped lead that team to the Elite Eight there. And again, he just tried out for the Chargers. He wanted to play football. I think he played in high school, if I'm correct. So he knew he had the ability to play there. And NBA just was not. He was a good player, but he wasn't fit for the NBA. But it worked out. Believe it or not, basketball players make solid tight ends and make some great. I mean, we've seen it on small to big and he's a big example, obviously. And he made the cut and became a Hall of Famer. It's a crazy good story there. But again, he's got for him playing in this area, he's got a lot of family that would love to come back down over here and watch him get inducted. Your Hall of Fame game, Detroit Lions versus the Los Angeles Chargers. Of course, Chargers are there also because of Antonio Gates there. So you're going to see a lot of second, third, fourth stringers in that game. I don't think you're going to see any starters. They tend not to do that for the Hall of Fame game. But that is this Thursday, tomorrow, when you're listening to this show. I believe ABC's going to have it, and it's supposed to be a beautiful day down there. It really is. I was actually around some of the festivities earlier this past weekend, fireworks and drone shows for the kids. There you have the Hall of Fame parade and everything. They go all out, and they try to make it the best they can in the area, which is great. You want more family fun. I know football is not always family fun, and I wouldn't take a kid to an NFL game personally. That's just me, no judgment. But it's nice to see them do something for the community and get them hyped up for the special occasion there. But football's here, everybody, ladies and gentlemen. It is. I mean, training camp is more than well underway. You're going to have, it won't be this weekend, but the following weekend, you're going to have everybody else is going to be playing their preseason games. Colleges are getting ready to open up camp again. High schools are already talking about 2-a-days already. I mean, the kids will be back in school in 3 to 4 weeks. It's hard to believe, but we're already at that point. So football is here. It's not too early anymore. It is here. And then something weird happened with the Browns yesterday. Okay, so they put a couple players on a physically unable to perform list. Deshaun Watson being one of them. Mike Hall Jr. being another one. I guess he's dealing with an injury he had at the end of the season. I guess he's progressing. Things are going okay, but they don't want to rush him, and there's no reason to put him out there right now. There was a report that came in midday yesterday. They had the day off yesterday. That Saturday's during training camp on Saturday, Kenny Pickett suffered what seemed to be a pretty serious hamstring injury. Now, I'm not sure. They're not saying what grade it was. They're not saying if he was able to walk off the field or whatnot. But they said it's serious enough where he has no timetable, and they're not sure if when he'll be back into practice. Okay, how he got it? He ran for an 80-yard no pad practice touchdown. So no pass, so they weren't tackling each other. He ran for an 80-yard touchdown, showcasing his speed to the coaches and his open field running, which, by the way, as pointed out by former pro quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson doesn't do that. One of the best rushing quarterback we have right now in the league, and he does not do that at training camp because it's crazy. You just there's no point to it. Okay, congratulations, you scored an 80-yard touchdown that didn't matter, didn't count. It's not even a scrimmage. And he showcases his speed, and he grabs onto his hamstring. Okay, mind you, if the preseason would have started this weekend, he would have been the first quarterback out there playing. He would have been on the first squad, first team, first one to get reps. That's where he is on the depth chart. And he decides to show off his speed. Oh, well, man. You wonder why I'm cheering for Joe Flacco here. You wonder why. It's because he's not going to do stuff like that. You just made it easier. Shadir Sanders' job got a little bit easier because you went ahead and did that. And yes, I am going to be critical about that because that's a bonehead play right there. You just shouldn't be doing that to yourself. So, I mean, it is what it is. I think he'll be back. It doesn't sound like, he tore something or anything like that. I think that they are concerned, and it is going to affect his mobility in the pocket there until that hamstring can be 100% again. But I just, word to the wise right now for any quarterback, I don't care what level you're on, there's no point of rushing for an 80-plus yard touchdown in practice like that, especially no pads, mind you. Again, so it wasn't like he was making a great play, full padded, full contact practice. They're not even allowed to tackle him, and he still did that. It's weird, man, and I think I'm irritated because this kind of thing always happens. There's always some kind of weird injury in Cleveland during training camp, and that was your injury there. So we'll see what happens there. Myles Garrett. They're announcing the Madden 26 ratings, and they announced the 99 Club, which for those that don't know, that is when a player is the highest rated on the Madden game, which is 99. It doesn't go over 99. 2K back in the day did 100, 101. but Madden's always done 99, and very few players. There were 7 players on the 99 club for Madden 26, which is being very much hyped of how they've changed and gone even back to some old school ways to do Madden, like your halftime shows by Red Zone. Scott Hansen's going to be in it and all that kind of fun stuff. And there's actually going to be actual sports breakdown analyst shows in the franchise mode. No joke. Like they're going, and different announcers depending on what time of day you play or night or whatnot. Not day or game. Like if it's a primetime Sunday night game, you get these announcers. If it's a daytime game, you get these announcers. Yeah, they're going all out. Myles Garrett joined the 99 club. He's one of 7 members there. Lane Johnson, I'm going by memory here. Lane Johnson, Jamar Chase, Saquon Barkley, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and Justin Jefferson. I got them all. Along with Myles Garrett are the 99 club. So Myles was in the 99 club 2 Maddens ago, and last year they made him a 98. So he goes down a little bit, and then now he's back up to the 99 club there. So congrats to Myles right there. Which I know some people are like, oh, big deal, big achievement. Very few players in any sports game get the highest rating. Very, very few. It's not a big list at all. So the fact we have a Cleveland Brown on that list amongst everybody else, Bengals got 1 guy, Eagles got 2 on there if you heard the list. But so that's also a sign. New Madden games coming out. All these ratings are going to come out. Everybody's excited. It is. How should I say it? It's kind of like Thanksgiving right now for NFL fans. You know, you're not quite to Christmas, which would be week 1, but you get to have the feast, and you get to watch football. In this case, preseason, the Hall of Fame game, and you start to see the highlights from college, even high school ball. If you got a kid out there playing and whatnot, you get to see them in their pads, running plays and everything, and it's just like it is back. It is, you know, I'm not as passionate for it as how I feel about baseball or anything like that, but I do love football. I'm trying to keep my excitement about the Browns to a minimum here. Just to how bad last year went, but the Zips I'm excited for. Yeah, even if they can't even do a game or the MAC championship bowl game, excuse me. I think there's a lot to look forward to with the Zips. I know that they added a quarterback just recently to their arsenal, in the transfer portal. Maybe not just recently, but he came in late there. You have the Buckeyes, who are the defending champs. And what they're going to bring to the table is, like, who's going to be a starting quarterback. I got Sayin as my pick. He's got a pro-ready arm. You know, why not? I'm looking for who is that quarterback that Akron got there, who is probably going to be the starter there. They got a lot of good transfers here. I mean, some big school transfers there. I don't think this is going to list him here. There's many different websites that have all the football commitments there. They did get a 3-star prospect there. They got a wide receiver from Marshall that came in late, running back from ULM, safety from Marshall. They got a kicker from North Carolina. That was a good one there. Their quarterback came from Syracuse. He was Kyle McCord's backup. That's what it was. Michael Johnson Jr. So he'll go to Akron. 6'3". All right, they have a wide receiver coming from Pitt. They have a safety coming from Penn State. A safety coming from Kent State, believe it or not. They have a running back coming from LSU. I mean, they got some goods. They have a defensive end coming from Arizona, University of Arizona. Yes. No, they had a loaded transfer class. So that was pretty impressive there on the Zips part. But unfortunately, like in case you don't know, due to failure to meet academic requirements, Akron has suspended any kind of MAC championship or bowl game this year. So they could go undefeated, and that's it. That's it there. Yeah, I am wishing a little bit too much of them going undefeated. They did just win 4 games last year, and that was their best in 4 or 5 years. Crazy. No, Ohio State should be fun there, but yeah, I mean, football's back. Football, welcome back, football. Hope you got your fantasy football cards ready, your board. We're doing some Dynasty League stuff. For those that don't know, that's instead of redrafting a team every year, you get players. You get one big first draft. You keep those players on your team. You could trade them for draft picks and whatnot. And then the next year when you draft, it's just rookies. And you actually build a team. You build a franchise. So we're doing our league is actually Dynasty. We've called that for years. We're having our draft this weekend. I'm looking very forward to it. I got multiple picks there. And my team is loaded for once. And I'm looking, and yes, there's money on the line. If you win, you win money. So it would be very nice to win some of that money for us. But this team, I've been rebuilding this team for a few years, and now it's looking sharp. I really like the direction it's going there. But enough about my fantasy team. When we come back, I gotta take a break. But when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more what the Browns have coming up, and then we'll talk about the Cleveland Cavaliers. Some minor news with them, and that and more. Stay tuned. And welcome to our last segment of today's 10-cent beer. Our last segment for July. That's a little crazy for me here. I mean, the summer's flying by, and it's soon going to be gone. It'll be cold again, and I'll be sad. But we'll have the Cavaliers at least back by that time. But before that, I did see some news there while I was on a break. The New York Yankees traded away former Cleveland starting pitching star Carlos Carrasco to the Atlanta Braves for a prospect. So there you go. He's going to be back in the National League, Carlos Carrasco. For those that don't know, we got him in the trade with the Cliff Lee trade with the Phillies back in the day. So he was drafted by the Phillies, comes to Cleveland, has a solid career, and then Cleveland traded him to the Mets in the Francisco Lindor trade. He was okay with the Mets. He had a couple good games there, not a ton. He got injured throughout the first year with the Mets, and then his second year he played a little bit more. And there were some games he was on, there were some games he was off. He comes back to Cleveland last year. He was in the bullpen mostly, but he did start some games. He was okay. He's going in the downhill of his career. Signs with the New York Yankees, and then he spent some time with the Yankees this year. I think he was mainly a long reliever of the bullpen, and he's been traded now to the Atlanta Braves. So there you have. But best of luck to Carlos, man. Seriously, we still love him here in Northeast Ohio. There you go. I'm mentioned briefly about Cavaliers coming back, all this and that. They're still in the off season, and some people might be like, well, it's the off season's pretty much over, the peak of it's done, what more could they do? Well, here's the thing, we're entering August, right? Kobe Altman's biggest moves for his time with the Cavs have been in August. He traded for Lauri Markkanen in August. Okay, that was a big three-way trade there. And that was a big piece, too, he grabbed. He then traded for Donovan Mitchell the next August. He then, he's made, there's another example that's slipping my mind right now, but there's another time where he did a move in August, and it really, really impacted him positively. So Altman's not done, and they still have much of the roster they're looking to fill. There's been reports about probably not going to bring back Tristan Thompson. They think the Larry Nance Jr. reunion was the mentor on the bench reunion. I should say not a benchy per se. I know that's what Tristan was last year. Let's be honest with ourselves. Or I think Nance Jr. will actually see some good playing time, but it was to get that player that's been there, especially during their championship runs, which Nance was at the 2018 team, was on the 2018 team that went to the finals there, and his role is going to be helping the guys guide them to their winning ways there. I did hear Ricky Rubio's trying to get back into the NBA. We'll see if they talk to him at all. I wouldn't bank on it, but it's an idea. I did hear they might be interested in Thomas Bryant, who was a big man off the bench for the Pacers and made an impact against the Cavs in that playoff series. So, I mean, I'm not opposed to that. He's a guy. He's not going to give you big numbers, but this is a guy. We're talking like 8 points, 8 rebounds a game. He's gonna play some defense. He can get the ball in the hoop when he can, but it's gonna be defensive rebounds. The Dean Wade situation, they're saying it's 50-50. They think some people think because they trade Okoro, Wade is safe, but some people are like, they could still move him. I'm somebody that thinks they could probably still move him for the right price. Again, we'll see. It's all going to depend, but I do kind of see them making a move there. It's just how they're going to finish off the roster. I did see Marcus Morris, for those that don't know, he played for us a couple seasons ago. He was on the team that got eliminated by Boston in the second round. He got arrested in Florida for a Las Vegas warrant. I guess he's in for fraud. So he's not currently on the team. He hasn't been with the team over a year, but that's just not good news. Marcus Morris there, yeah. So we'll see all that they can do there. But that's it for really the Cavaliers. I did see Darius Garland's having a celebrity softball game people can attend for charity. Some of his teammates and his coach are on the team. So there you have it. For the Browns, okay, their NFL preseason starts August 8th. We'll talk a little bit more about this next week when we have more information what's going on. Which, by the way, speaking of that and the players, Quinton Judkins has still not shown up to the team yet regarding his situation. He's the only draft pick not signed in the league. So that's not working there. But the Browns will be at Carolina against the Panthers Friday, August 8th there. Again, there's only 3 preseason games now because things have changed throughout the years. They will then go to Philly to play the defending champs on August 16th. And that's a 1 o'clock game. And that would be a Saturday game right there. And then Saturday, August 23rd, another 1 o'clock game, Rams at Browns. So, and which people are excited about with this preseason because, the preseason, it's like, it don't matter. It's just to see football game. The Browns can lose. They could get their butts kicked. We actually wouldn't take it emotionally because it's just preseason. It doesn't matter. Well, there's a lot of line with this quarterback stuff. You got 2 rookie quarterbacks trying to make the team. You have some flashy rookies that you did draft. People want to see them. They want to see how they pan out. And you just saw Jordan Hicks, the linebacker, up and retired this past week. So now there's going to be more pressure on younger linebackers to make some moves here on the field. To not just stay on the team, but to start on the, this is a chance for them to get some serious playing time is what I'm trying to say. And they're all working very hard for it. You just got to stay healthy and make the plays there. But there's, a lot. You're going to see a lot with Dylan Gabriel and Shadir Sanders. You're going to see a lot of reps there, and I think you're going to see a lot more throwing the ball too, especially with Judkins down. The running back group's got a little bit thinner. And, Judkins was predicted to be the starter. Actually, they said they penciled him as number 1 and Jerome Ford number 2, and they said Ford got bumped up to number 1 there. So, and then the rest is just rookies. They did sign a guy, Toa Tua, from the UFL. He's coming in. So they did get some running back help there. They're just enamored with their MAC prospects, the wide receiver out of Kent State, tight end McDonald there out of Miami of Ohio, and I did see Cedric Tillman is back at practice after a scary injury. He did get banged up on a high throw from Flacco, and that guy's got to stay healthy because he can play. He can show he belongs in this league. I saw a lot of fantasy rankings, and they're talking about the top 10 young wide receivers that you need to trade for because they're going to blow up soon. And they're talking about dynasty, they're talking about redrafts and everything. Jerry Jeudy and Cedric Tillman were in the top 5 together. So they're sold that the Browns have a good young wide receiver duo there in Cleveland that they think that will take off and be somewhere soon. And you saw with Jameis Winston at quarterback when he could get the ball to him, because no offense, Deshaun Watson wasn't getting the ball to them at the time. But you saw with Jameis Winston, when he got the ball to them, they were able to do something on the field there. And that sounds a little cut and dry, but no, I mean, not just make the catch, but do the maneuverabilities, the juke moves, the agility, break the tackle. It was just getting the ball to them at the certain spots at certain plays, and you saw it more when Jameis was on than when he was off throwing interceptions. But it showed that our wide receiver room actually, while we don't have the flashiest of names, they got good hands, and that's all that matters at the end of the day, And same thing with the tight end room we have here. So, but that's just where the Browns stand right now, is try to figure out who's going to play quarterback and move the offense. Because right now the run game, I don't think it's in bad shape right now. I know that people are going to say, well, Jerome Ford didn't step up last year. We got a little bit more than Jerome Ford that we can hand the ball off to. There's going to be a lot of guys competing in that position there. I did hear they're talking because, they want to bring... They want to master this new passing game plan they have. They want to involve it. Stefanski's talking about, but then these offensive linemen are saying Stefanski's bringing back some old Stefanski-style playbook with the play action and the run game, which is why they brought him in the first place and what worked back in 2020. His best season still yet to this day. He had an 11-win season a couple of years ago too. But I would like to see that, the play action, the run, because it moved the chains. I mean, it got to a point in 2021, and I'll say last year too, they knew that you were going to throw the ball. All right? You mix it up, you challenge the defense, you keep them on their heels, you open the playbook. No, I'm not a NFL coach by any means, and it sounds too basic, but it has worked, though. It's about confusing the defense and making the plays. And you look at teams like the Kansas City Chiefs that do pass the ball a lot. They still change it up in a way to confuse the defenses. The way they run their schemes and everything. Bill Belichick was the same way in New England. It was a complicated offense, but it kept the defense on its heels at all times. And that's what you want to do. You don't want to make it too obvious. It's not like, here's the thing. It's... With the exception of Flacco's arm, which is the best arm we've had since the 99 revival and all the quarterbacks we've been through as far as accuracy and power and everything, we have not really had the offense where you could say, we're going to throw the ball and what are you going to do about it? We've had the run game where we could say, obviously we're going to run the ball, but what are you going to do about it? Because you're not going to stop it. That's happened before. But as far as our passing game goes, no, I don't think we've had a passing game where we made it plain obvious and nobody could stop it. This isn't Peyton Manning of the 2000s. That, if you remember that excellent Colts offense and how great they looked every game, it didn't matter if you knew they were going to pass it or not. He was going to find his guy and keep moving the chains. It was such... It is still ridiculous to me that Manning only won one Super Bowl championship with that team. How loaded they were and how great I mean, the offensive line, the receivers, Manning himself, not Reggie Wayne, that was a wide receiver, but their running back at the time, it's slipping my mind, but I mean, it wasn't like that. It's never been like that here in Cleveland. So if you got a good run game going, I think that's the only time where you go like, yeah, we're going to run it. What are you going to do about it? But we got some running backs that need to prove themselves first. And that's even if Quinshawn does join the team. That's to say that. I did see Joe Mixon of the Texans. He's going to be out till further notice with a foot injury. So Chubb is going to be the new starter for now. Chubb sounds really good to have on that roster with Quinshon Judkins not being able to play right now. Again, that's why we wanted him back, but we'll see. We'll see. We'll have plenty of time to talk about that. We're going to be overloaded with the Browns quarterback situation. We really will. I mean, and people are saying, these stats at training camp, okay? If they mean anything. They really don't. Last year, Deshaun Watson threw over 600 yards and 18 touchdowns against the Vikings in a scrimmage. And it was a whole day scrimmage, okay? You saw that didn't lead to anything last year, okay? It's just whoever comes out on top, that's gonna be a starter there. I do think though Flacco's gonna be a guy that's going to win games for them now. Okay, I know there's an argument for Pickett. I would say Flacco or Pickett because you want to win games. They can't afford another 3-win season. This regime cannot. Okay, you want to win games, and having the rookie out there is going to be tough. And I know there's some people who are like, well, it worked for this team, it worked for that team. You look at what Washington did last year. You look at what Chicago did last year. Look, I think, first of all, we don't have a first-round rookie in there. Okay, let's get that straight. This isn't a top 3 pick. We have a 3rd-round pick and a 5th-round pick. One guy everybody thought we were going to pick with the 2nd overall pick and didn't, thank God. I'd rather have him in the 5th round than the 2nd overall pick. So the fact that he fell down that far and they were still able to get him wasn't crazy enough. But I think a lot of teams should go to, and I agree. I think this with the Browns right now. And I know the argument too is about next year and their 1st-round picks and everything and the quarterback class. I'm not even writing that off. Is the ones that have the quarterback sit and learn. There hasn't been a lot of teams that have done it, but Green Bay's done it twice in a row, and it's worked. Aaron Rodgers in 2002, 2003, whenever it was, fell way down the list. They were able to get him late in the 1st round, and they just said, we're picking you up, but you're going to sit behind Favre for a while. He did, what was it, 5-6 seasons? It was a while. And then, maybe not even that. It may have been 4. But still, he sat and learned, okay? There was no rush in putting him out there. Jordan Love was not flashy in college. He was good, but he wasn't flashy, okay? Gets picked. Green Bay trades up and picks him in the late 1st round in 2020. They have him sit for about 3 years, okay? Then he comes out. Oh, my gosh. I mean, I ripped on him when they made the pick. I said, I don't see how this was a 1st-round pick. They could have got him in the 3rd, 4th, maybe even 5th round. At the time, I Mel Kipered him. I was just like, oh, I don't know about this pick, da-da-da-da-da. And no, this guy's one of the best hard-throwing quarterbacks in the game now. But he did sit and learn. And that is something maybe Cleveland needs to consider here, with these rookie guys, not just throw them out to the Wolves because you can't afford to. It's not like, oh, well, Cleveland, they show up to the Super Bowl every 5 years, 3 or 5 years. They always win at least 10 games a year. So if they have to sacrifice a season to get a guy to learn, it's acceptable. No. We've had over 30 different starting quarterbacks. We had 3 wins last season. You cannot risk it. They cannot go out there yet. If Stefanski is going to crown one of these rookies to be the starter week 1, he is taking a risk to his job, and he knows something we don't. If he is that confident in one of them. Now, if Flacco and Pickett are injured going into week 1, God forbid, the argument to have them wait is out the window. You have to have them out there on the field right away, whoever it may be. So that's my thoughts on the situation. Hey, I am out of time. I appreciate you guys listening. Seriously, if you are in the Northeast Ohio area, enjoy the festivities in Canton for the Hall of Fame game. Be good to yourselves. Beautiful weather. Go out to a ball game. Wherever you're at. But I know this week in Northeast Ohio, it's supposed to be spectacular. So looking forward to that and more. We only have so much summer left, so make sure you spend some time with your kids and take them out somewhere and enjoy the weather here. Next week, we'll see if we can get a special guest in here. I have some ideas. Just didn't work out today. But Bob will be back eventually when he's ready. But he's rehabbing well. He's doing okay. But until then, you guys be good to each other. Thank you, Producer Bob. And I will be back next week. Go Guards. Yeah. Go Rubber Ducks. Go Clippers. Go Lake County Captains. Go all the baseball teams right now. Our football teams haven't started yet, so we'll talk about them next week. But go team. Go baseball. You guys have a good one. I'm out.